Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. A very warm welcome to Silver Tent TV. I'm your host, Siobhan A Riordan, along with my dog Elsa, and we know occasionally she can join in, but we just go with the flow. The Silver Tent is a global platform for women over 50. It's a place to come and be nurtured and supported. And it's also, and to realise those dreams that are still to be realised. It's also a platform to share the wisdom of women by the very fact that we're over 50, we've been round the blocks a few times and we've got a little bit of knowledge and expertise and experience to share. And with that in mind, I'm delighted to welcome Trish Beauchamp all the way from New Zealand. A very warm welcome to you, Trish.
Wow, thank you, Siobhan. It's a privilege to be here and just to be part of this interview. So I'm really excited about what we're going to talk about.
Wonderful. So Trish is an educator, a children's educator and child development specialist with over 30 years experience, and has kind of evolved that into life coaching. And with a background in NLP, applied psychology, mindfulness, Trish brings a kind of unique approach to life and relationship coaching. So Trish, I kind of wanted to begin with, tell us a bit about your background and what led you into coaching.
Sure. Well, as you've mentioned, I was teaching. I was actually a classroom teacher for 35 years, teaching various age groups. And I guess we often have defining moments or situations in our life that we don't expect. And for me, it was at a particular time when I'd made a decision that I wasn't going to continue teaching. I was going to work on a business with my husband. And so I left that career and was going down another whole new pathway, but that didn't quite go as planned. So from that, there was a whole journey for me. I actually ended up with some health issues, and for me, I had to explore what that was going to, how that was affecting me personally, and what I was going to do to move forward in life.
So a big kind of sea of change came through your life, and what kind of made you decide I'm going to go down the coaching path?
Yes, well, I think what actually happened, and the real moment for me was actually being diagnosed with a possible heart attack, and I was literally within an hour of having this wonderful meal with friends and family. I was in an ambulance on my way. A nursing friend had said, Trish, we've got to get you to the hospital. And, thankfully my heart was fine, but it was actually a perceptive nurse. She said, Trish, have you had any stress in your life? And I realised I had some major life shifts, some major transitions. As I mentioned, I just completed the 35 years teaching career. Our grown-up daughters were now left home. My dad had just died and my mum had died previously. I'd had another friend die of cancer. And sadly, within a short while after leaving teaching, the marriage ended. So I wasn't even working with a business with my husband. And there was just this whole sense of unraveling for me, like all those identities that had become part of who I was, that they were just kind of stripped away. I was no longer a daughter. My role as a parent had changed significantly. I no longer had independent children. I didn't have a career. I was really sad. I wasn't prepared for a marriage of 32 years to end. And then when it just kind of was manifested in my health, I thought, okay, Trish, it's time to really find out what's happening for you. And so I went down this whole new track. In many ways, it was probably similar to what I've been doing because I love research and I love education, finding out what it was about my emotions, my mind, that was actually impacting my life negatively. And so the last 4 or 5 years, I've been doing all these different courses, and that just evolved. I realized actually I love helping people. It was what I loved about teaching, seeing the students when they were able to see success in an area maybe they were struggling in. And for me, I realized that all our lives we're impacted by our relationships, whether it's family, romantic partner, friends, community, or work. And often those relationships can actually, we need to manage them. And first of all, we need to manage our own relationships. So that was the first part of it.
And I want to come in there because you're talking about the milestones. That's what this age is all about, isn't it? That kind of postmenopausal milestone where we are confronted with seas of change from our parents. And, I think that waking up to, oh my God, I'm the next in line now. That's one of the impacts of our parents passing over. And that thing of the chicks have flown the nest, and suddenly who am I when I've been had this full-time role of mother, and of course you on top had the ending of your marriage as well.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a bit about where you went from there. So you did your research, and where did that lead you to?
Well, I think the main thing that I realised is I knew then that I was obviously in some level of stress. So I did a lot of research around the nervous system, and I learned about the sympathetic system of the fight and the freeze, and the parasympathetic of the rest and digest. And I had been in this continued heightened fight and freeze, as if there was danger all the time. And so I needed to learn the necessity to bring the balance of the rest, digest. I learned that I needed to have more self-care. I learned I needed to be selfful. Now, I'm not talking about being selfish. To me, selfful is when you meet your own demands. Being selfish is you want other people to meet your demands. And I wanted to know, what did Trish need to find herself, to be authentically herself, and to realise that I can only change myself. And even though there was some unexpected transition that I hadn't prepared for, when I got the tools, I realised this is what I have now to move forward. And so I've created this toolbox. I still have to be aware of anxiety and stress, but I now manage. I now know what to do when I get the triggers. And I guess that the whole, for me, it was realising that I could be in charge of my life only, and that was the significance of moving forward. And so coming into coaching, I realised I could now pass on that information to other people. So wherever they're at, whatever situation that they are wanting to have some assistance with, maybe a relationship or just a change. I mean, let's look at what's happened this last year with COVID. We were all being totally impacted by this incredible uncertainty. Lives have all of a sudden had to take a different tack. I'm a sailor, so it was like the navigating waters. The wind changed so much, and we have to steer the boat differently. And I think the main thing is we've got to keep being the captain of our own ship. That's such a key.
Yeah, because that's one of the expertises now that you bring to your coaching business, is that whole navigating change. And you talk about, I think it's the 5 C's.
Yes, that kind of came to me when I was looking at what have I learned from this. And it was very simple. I call it my 5 C's to achieve a healthy well-being. And the first one's compassionate attention, and that's just being compassionate to yourself. Be aware of what's important to you when you're going through change. And
that selfful experience.
That's the one. And let's face it, in a female role, when we've been very much a mother, maybe with a wife, or we've had different roles, we often find it difficult to give up some of those identities. And when they're stripped away, as mine were, I had to decide, well, okay, what am I going to achieve going forward? So, and the second one is curiosity. And oh my goodness, talk about Alice in Wonderland. I just went down many rabbit holes because I wanted to get curious. What was happening with my body? Why was my body just feeling so drained? Mind, body, and soul. And it's just the revelation of finding about the nervous system and how I could nourish myself. And the third one's connection. Keep connected with others, keep connected with what you need personally. For me, I started doing salsa dancing in my 60s. I realized that there was a part of me that needed to be playful again. There's a part of me that needed to feel alive and young again. And the fourth one is choices. And this is a big one because the Viktor Frankl talks about between stimulus and response, there's a space. And in the space, that's where the freedom is for us to make the decision and how we're going to respond. And I had some really big, really unexpected life events that was kind of created this domino effect. And I knew that I had to decide how I was going to respond to each of those events. And
because that's where our power lies, isn't it? I love that idea of the stimulus and the response and the space in between. It's a bit like the mindfulness and that point where you breathe in, and that pause before you breathe out is that amazing space where we can really feel our power and, as you say, make our decisions and our choices. And we're on to the fifth one.
And that's change. Because it's the only, we have the power to change ourselves. And a lovely quote I often remember is that no one's going to change until the desire to change is greater than the desire to stay the same. And that's so significant for anyone who wants to move forward in life in some way. When you've got the desire to change and it's stronger than the desire to stay the same, then you're on the way. And I love helping people who want to be on the way, because there's just the journey is so exciting because we're in charge. We're the captain. We get to be the captain. Do you know the wind? For anybody who's sailing out there, you know what it's like. You have to rely on the sails to move, to adjust the sails wherever the wind is coming. And the boat, though, knows how to sail. And that's what I realised, that when I started to take some real responsibility of my thinking, my emotions, and my health, I could steer that boat. And I was going places. And that's what I'm really excited about for me and for others that I work with.
So you're providing an online coaching service. If I wanted to contact you and experience what you have to offer, what can I expect to receive?
Oh, great question. Well, first of all, I always offer a 40-minute complimentary chat. And that can be, obviously, with me being in New Zealand, I have a fabulous cafe down the road, which I like to take local clients to, but most of it will be on Zoom. And in that 40 minutes, it's an opportunity to just decide, are we the right fit for each other? You know, am I somebody you feel you can work with? And that's what I think we establish in that first 40 minutes. And then from that, there's different programs, and there's different ways where we can meet, but it's the initial, have a chat, just let's get together like you and I are here, and talk to each other, and let me know what is the situation that you're wanting to address. And I don't have the answers for everything, but I know that through my own life experience, and I've had a lot of different experiences around relationships in all arenas that have had to be managed strategically. I love the fact that I can help people create their own toolbox, and first of all, our relationship with ourselves is so significant for how we have a healthy relationship with others. So that's also part of the coaching program, is just bringing the empowerment to each client for their own self going forward.
I love that, Trish. It's been so lovely to connect with you and to learn more about what you've developed and what you have on offer. And we'll put all the contact details in the notes. But for now, I'd just love to say thank you. It's been great being with you.
Oh, thank you. It's been such a joy. Even though I've had my cat here playing with the computer through the whole interview, it's been delightful. And I just feel so privileged to be able to have this opportunity. I'm on the other side of the world, and here I am talking to you, and that's what I just love about what we can now offer online. Just we can feel like we're in the same room with each other, and that's very significant.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? And that's the joy of the Silver Tent. It truly is a global community, and yeah, on two different parts of the world we get to connect and be together like this. Thank you so much, Trish. And wherever you are in the world, if the sun isn't shining in your skies, may it shine in your heart. This is Siobhan and Elsa signing off.